the scent of blood mixed with the sharp bite of cold steel. Screams echoed across the battlefield like a mournful symphony. Snow, once white and soft, had turned crimson beneath 1,000 fallen feet. Smoke curled from broken siege towers, and through the chaos stood a woman clad in silver-black armor, her crimson banner torn and fluttering behind her like a dying flame. General Mo Qingyan's blade dripped with blood, some hers, most not. Her lips were cracked, her cheek marred with soot, but her eyes burned with the frost fire of resolve. "Hold the line!" she bellowed, voice ringing above the clash of steel. "If we fall today, the Empire falls with us!" Her soldiers, what few remained, tightened formation, spears raised, shields locked. The enemy thundered forward, 10 times their number, yet none dared retreat under her gaze. Above the hill, the golden crest of the Emperor's forces shimmered, safe, untouched. Then she saw it, the signal, a red flare arcing across the sky. Retreat. Her breath caught. Retreat now. Her gaze locked on the cliff above where Emperor Jianlong, her lover and sovereign, watched from his war tent. He did not lift a hand, did not blink, only turned his back and vanished into silk shadows. Her heart cracked. He had abandoned her. She had suspected betrayal, but not from him, not like this. "General!" a voice called, her lieutenant Feng. "They're surrounding us!" She gritted her teeth. "Then we carve a path through hell!" With a roar, she surged forward, rallying what was left of her army. Her blade danced, cutting, parrying, slashing through flesh and fear. She was no longer a general. She was death. But death was closing in. An arrow pierced her side, then another struck her shoulder. She dropped to one knee, but rose again. A final strike. An enemy commander lunged. She drove her blade through his throat, but not before his spear sliced through her abdomen. Falling to her knees, the world spun, the battlefield blurred. She felt warm blood pooling beneath her. Screams became whispers. Snowflakes touched her cheeks like a final goodbye. She looked to the sky, gray and unfeeling. "So this is how it ends," she whispered. Then she smiled. "I do not regret war, only love." She clenched her fist, nails biting into her palm. "If I am reborn," she breathed, "I will never love blindly again." Her fingers relaxed, her sword dropped, and General Mo Qingyan, war goddess of the north, closed her eyes. There was no battlefield, no blood, no sky choked with smoke. There was only white, and beeping, a steady, unfamiliar rhythm, beep, beep, beep. Mo Qingyan's eyes fluttered open. The ceiling above her was bright, sterile, and unfamiliar, white tiles and blinking panels. She turned her head slowly, every nerve screaming in confusion. Wires were attached to her wrist. A transparent tube snaked into her nose. The scent was sharp, clean, too clean. Where was the blood? She jolted up and immediately groaned. Her body felt too thin, too weak. Her limbs trembled under her own weight. She caught sight of her reflection in the glass wall ahead. A stranger stared back. Gone were the sharp amber eyes lined with years of war. The face she saw now was pale, almost translucent, with soft features and modern bangs falling over wide, confused eyes. Her frame, delicate, fragile, weak. She staggered to the mirror. Her hand touched the glass. "This isn't me," she murmured, her voice strange, lighter. But memories, blurry, fragmented, came flooding in. Mo Yu-yun, medical intern, outcast of the Mo family, scapegoat, silent, bullied, forgotten. She clutched her head. 2 lives, 2 sets of memories, fused into one body. Mo Ching-yen was gone, yet alive, reborn. Suddenly, the door burst open. "Mo Yu-yun, why are you out of bed?" snapped a young woman in a crisp white coat. Her tone was sharp, commanding. Yu-yun recognized her from the memories. Mo Li-hua, her stepsister, pretty, cruel, and ambitious. "You've embarrassed us enough already," Li Hua continued, stepping close. "You passed out during a simple checkup and nearly ruined the entire department's presentation. You should be grateful we didn't fire you." Mo Yu-yun said nothing, but her gaze shifted, cold, unreadable. Li Hua smirked. "You're not even worth pity." Then she turned and strutted out. Mo Yu-yun looked down at her trembling hands. "This body is weak, but I am not." In the hallway, she passed a janitor's closet. Her fingers brushed the doorknob. Inside were mops, gloves, and a small mirror. She stared again, and this time, behind the fragile modern face, she saw herself, General Mo's eyes, General Mo's will. "If fate gave me this life, then I will no longer beg, I will take." Chapter 3. The White-Coated Battlefield. The halls of the hospital buzzed with fluorescent light and quiet disdain. Mo Yu-young walked slowly, a clipboard in hand, the white coat on her shoulders ill-fitting, just like her place in this world. Whispers followed her like shadows. "Isn't that the Mo family's embarrassment? I heard she passed out again last week. Just a pretty face, no real talent." But today, Yu-yun didn't flinch. She had once walked barefoot across scorched earth. Let them talk. Her shift began in operating room 3, assisting with cleanup after a laparotomy. While nurses chatted and scrolled through their phones, she silently worked, swift, precise, efficient. The surgeon, Dr. Shen, barked, "Don't touch anything beyond your pay grade, intern." She didn't look up. "Yes, doctor." But fate was a mischievous thing. 10 minutes later, alarms shrieked from ER Ward B. A patient was crashing, seizures, oxygen drop, heart rate erratic. "Call neurology," shouted a nurse. "They're in surgery," another yelled. Yu-yun was nearby, tray in hand. The crowd of staff buzzed in panic. The patient, a middle-aged man, convulsed as foam frothed at his lips. "Is no one doing a CT?" she asked, stepping closer. "You? Back off," a resident sneered. But she pushed past him. She scanned the chart. The symptoms clicked. Blurred speech, misaligned pupils, high BP, classic signs of a brain bleed, not epilepsy. They were treating him for the wrong thing. "He needs an emergency burr hole," she said, voice cold. "Are you out of your mind?" Dr. Shen barked. "You're a glorified assistant." Yu-yun didn't wait. She yanked off her gloves and grabbed the correct tools. Her voice rang sharp. "Either you let me operate, or you explain to his family why he's dead in 5 minutes." The room fell silent. With trembling hands but a warrior's steadiness, she made the incision. Nurses watched in stunned silence as she relieved the pressure, just in time for the neuro team to arrive. The lead neurosurgeon stopped, shocked. "Who did this?" he asked. Everyone pointed. "Intern Mo." Later that evening, as she passed the break room, she overheard voices. "She's not normal. She moved like she's done battlefield surgery before. No way she's the same Mo Yu-yun." She walked past them without a word. In her mind, she could still hear battlefield screams. In her hands, she could still feel a blade. But here, her sword was steel no more. It was scalpel. And the hospital? Her new war front. Chapter 4. The Man with the Ice Eyes. The operating theater was quiet, the kind of silence that only tension could create. On the far side of the glass observation deck stood Gu Ziyan, arms crossed, face unreadable, eyes sharp as blades. His tailored coat hung effortlessly from his frame, white coat untouched, gaze fixed on the young intern moving with surgical focus below. The woman, Mo Yu-yun, was suturing the patient with a confidence that no intern should possess. Every movement was smooth, measured, efficient. No panic, no fumbles. He didn't speak, didn't blink, only observed. Behind him, Chief of Surgery, Dr. Liu, murmured, "That's the Mo family's intern, the quiet one. She's changed." Gu Zheyan replied, his eyes never leaving her. Down below, Yu Yun finished the procedure and peeled off her gloves. Her heart was calm, her mind clear. As she turned toward the observation glass, she froze. He was watching her. For the briefest moment, their eyes locked. His gaze was glacial, assessing, detached. Yet behind that icy exterior, something flickered. Recognition? Curiosity? Amusement? He inclined his head slightly, a rare gesture from a man known for his distance. She didn't return it. She simply walked away. Hours later, she was alone in the medical library, flipping through neurosurgical case files. A shadow fell across her desk. "You're not ordinary," said a deep voice. She looked up slowly. Gu Zheyan stood there, expression as unreadable as ever. "And you're not here for casual conversation," she said coolly. He smirked, just a little. "Correct. I want you to consult on a case tomorrow. A military veteran, complex brain trauma. I'm an intern, and I'm not asking." She narrowed her eyes. "What do you want from me?" "Just your mind," he said, turning away. "For now." As he walked off, she watched him with suspicion. In her past life, men of power always came with strings attached. This one, he wasn't just powerful, he was dangerous. Chapter 5. Family of Vipers. The chandelier glittered overhead like the fangs of a serpent. The Mo family's private dining room was dressed in gold and crystal, elegance concealing rot. Laughter echoed off marble floors, though none of it reached Mo Yu-yun. She sat at the far end of the table, a place meant for servants or shame. Her stepmother, Madame Lin, flashed her perfect smile. It didn't reach her eyes. "Yu-yun, dear," she purred, "we're so proud of your perseverance. I heard you performed a little trick in the ER recently." "Saved a life," Yu-yun replied blandly. "Not a trick." Across from her, Mo Li-hua, her stepsister, sipped wine and smirked. "Come now, mother," Li-hua said sweetly. "We all know hospitals have standards. A miracle like that, surely just luck, or maybe someone covered for her." Laughter, fake, sharp, poisonous. Yu-yan remained still. "You must be projecting, Li-hua. You've made a career of stealing credit." The room fell silent. Madame Lin's fingers curled around her glass. "Such disrespect. You wouldn't speak this way if your father were still alive." "I speak this way because he's gone," Yu-yan said coldly. "He would have seen through you both." The smile vanished from Madame Lin's face. After the meal, Madame Lin summoned her to the study. Waiting inside was a man, sleek suit, greasy smile, snake eyes. "This is Mr. Zhao," Madame Lin said smoothly, "CEO of Zhao Pharmaceuticals. He's interested in marrying into our family." Yu-yan stared at him. "I'm not available." "You don't have a choice," Madame Lin snapped. "You owe us your survival, your job, your future." "No," Yu-yan said, stepping closer. "I owe you nothing. My life was never yours to command." She looked Mr. Zhao dead in the eye. "If you approach me again, I'll report you for harassment." Then she turned and walked out of the house. Her white coat flared behind her like a banner of war. Let them call her ungrateful. Let them call her arrogant. The Mo family's little puppet had cut her strings. Chapter 6. Blade of the Battlefield, Hand of the Healer. The hospital basement was quiet, just the hum of old fluorescent lights and the faint creak of pipes overhead. Mo Yuyun stood barefoot on the cold linoleum floor, her white coat folded neatly beside her. Dressed in workout scrubs, she moved through slow, deliberate forms: Tai Yi, saber stance, tiger palm block, northern spear transition. Her body still remembered, even if this world had forgotten what she was. She had once trained armies. Now she trained alone, in secret, between shifts and stolen hours. Every kick was a release, every breath a promise. You are not weak. You are not theirs. The next day, chaos hit the ER. A 10-year-old boy was rushed in, severe allergic reaction, unable to breathe, his throat swelling rapidly. Doctors shouted orders, but none of the meds were working. "We're losing him," a nurse screamed. Yuyun burst into the room. "Move," she ordered. "No," barked Dr. Shen. "You're an intern. Get out." She ignored him. Grabbing a pen from her coat and a scalpel from the tray, she performed a field cricothyrotomy, cutting through the swelling and inserting a tube with precision. The boy gasped and breathed. Silence. Then applause from the paramedics. Even the senior nurse muttered, "Damn." Dr. Shen said nothing, but the cameras caught everything. Later that night, Gu Ziyan scrolled through the footage in his office. He watched her hands, her stance, the unshakable calm. "Where did you learn that?" he whispered. Behind him, an aide spoke up. "Sir, that technique, it's old, military, from a war field manual." Gu Ziyan leaned back in his chair, eyes dark. "Find out everything about Mo Yu." Chapter 7. Gu Ziyan's Interest. Mo Yuyun arrived early at her shift, only to be intercepted by a nurse with trembling hands and widened eyes. "Director Gu wants to see you. Now." She blinked. "Director Gu?" The nurse nodded. "He said it's not optional." Gu Ziyan's office on the top floor of the hospital was sleek, minimalist, and quiet as a sniper's lair. Floor-to-ceiling windows bathed the room in pale gray light, but his presence was what truly made the space cold. He didn't look up from his tablet as she entered. "You operated without clearance yesterday." "I saved a life," Yuyun replied, unapologetic. He finally looked at her. "Correct," he said. "That's why I'm not firing you." She raised a brow. "Then why am I here?" He tapped the screen. "I want you to assist on a classified case. Veteran, former special ops, brain trauma from shrapnel exposure. Everyone else missed the diagnosis. I want your eyes on it." Her spine straightened. "I'm not qualified." "You are," he said evenly. "You just don't have the paperwork to prove it." There was a pause. "Why me?" she asked quietly. He stood, crossing the room until he was just a step away. Not threatening, but calculated. His eyes searched hers like scalpels, dissecting truth from pretense. "Because you're the only one here," he murmured, "who looks at a body like it's a battlefield." They met that evening in a secure wing of the hospital. The patient, a middle-aged man with tremors and short-term memory loss, had already seen a dozen specialists. Yu Yun flipped through the MRI scans. Her eyes narrowed. "That's not random trauma," she said. "It's a pressure pocket behind the temporal lobe. That's why he has hallucinations. Not psychological, physical." Zayan gave her a look that almost resembled admiration. "You saw that in seconds." She handed the tablet back. "I've seen men like him before. They don't talk much, but they scream in silence." As she turned to leave, he called out, "You could work directly under me. Better access, resources, protection." She stopped at the door. "I don't need protection," she said softly. "I just need the space to fight my own war." Then she walked out. And for the first time in a long time, Gu Zeyan smiled. Just a little. Chapter 8. Strike First, Strike Hard. The grand ballroom of Hanlin Medical University gleamed under crystal chandeliers. 100 guests, surgeons, scholars, press, filled the space, wine glasses in hand, polite applause echoing between presentations. At center stage stood Moni Hua, face glowing with artificial charm. "And in conclusion, our family's medical research on deep cranial nerve stimulation is—" Her voice faltered, because from the crowd someone had stepped onto the stage, Mo Yuyen, wearing a tailored black suit and calm defiance in her eyes. "I'm afraid there's been a mistake," Yuyen said into the second mic. Gasps spread like wildfire. "What are you doing?" Li Hua hissed under her breath. "Correcting a lie," Yuyen said louder. "The research being presented here was mine, stolen from a locked university account, and here," she tapped the screen, changing slides, "is the original time-stamped data file, authored and encrypted under my login." The audience froze. Flashbulbs erupted. Yuyen didn't blink. "Further copies were stored in blockchain format under University Academic Integrity Policy," she continued. "Cross-checking this shows that Mo Li Hua edited only the abstract and changed the author field." Li Hua turned white. Dr. Liu, seated in the front row, stood. "Is this true?" Silence. Then Li Hua's voice cracked. "It's not what it looks like." "Oh, it's exactly what it looks like," Yuyen interrupted. More murmurs, some applause, and in the back of the hall, Gu Zeyan leaned against a column, arms crossed, watching. A faint smile tugged at the corner of his lips. She's finally stopped hiding. After the event, Li Hua tried to follow her backstage. "You'll regret humiliating me," she spat. Yuyen turned, gaze like steel. "No," she said. "I regret letting you wear my name for so long." Chapter 9. The Night That Changed Everything. The Mo family gala was a spectacle. Velvet curtains, chandeliers like stars frozen in gold, and music that dripped with money and masks. Mo Yuyen entered in silence. She wore a sleek black dress, modest but powerful. Her makeup was minimal, her expression colder than the wine being served. She didn't come to celebrate. She came because they wanted to parade her, their reformed embarrassment. She would play the part. until she didn't. An hour in, the music pulsed louder, guests swirled around with practiced laughter. Yu Yen sipped her champagne. Something tasted off. She blinked. The room spun slightly. Her heart rate jumped. Her throat felt dry. A hand brushed her waist. Mr. Zhao, the sleazy suitor from before. "You look softer tonight," he purred. She jerked back, her vision blurred. That's when she realized the drink had been spiked. She stumbled out the ballroom doors, heels clicking on marble like a ticking clock. One hand clutched her stomach, the other tried to dial her phone, but her fingers trembled too much. The corridor stretched and blurred, footsteps behind her, then a voice, "Mo Yuyan." She turned. Gu Zeyan. He caught her before she fell. Her breath was shallow and her pupils dilated. "Drugged," she whispered. "They planned this." His eyes darkened, jaw clenched. He lifted her into his arms without hesitation. "Don't worry," he said, voice low and sharp. "I've got you." She woke hours later on a soft couch in a penthouse apartment, wrapped in a warm blanket. Gu Zeyan sat across the room, staring at her, not with judgment, only quiet concern. "You're safe," he said. She looked away. "Why did you help me?" He didn't answer at first, then softly, "Because you wouldn't have asked." Silence. Then she said something that surprised even herself. "Thank you." Their eyes met. Something shifted. Not love, not yet, but the wall between them cracked, just slightly. Chapter 10. Pregnant in a Cold World. Rain fell outside the clinic window, a soft, constant hush. Mo Yuyan sat in the doctor's office alone. The test results lay on the desk like a quiet thunderclap. Pregnant. She stared at the paper in her hands, unreadable. No tears, no panic, just stillness. The doctor had explained everything gently, as if speaking to a frightened patient. But Yu Yun wasn't frightened. She had led armies into death. This was different. This was life, a life growing inside her, tied to a single night where she'd let her guard slip, one night of warmth in a world that had known only knives. Gu Zeyan. She walked through the city in silence, raindrops clinging to her like ghosts. Flashbacks bled into the present, a battlefield soaked in blood, a general, childless, dying alone. Her final regret whispered to the sky, "If I had one child, perhaps I wouldn't die forgotten." Now, fate had rewritten the ending. She paused by a shop window and looked at her reflection. Wet hair, tired eyes, the faintest curve at her lower belly. Behind her reflection she imagined the old self, armor, sword, war paint. Both versions of her nodded. She made her decision. Back in her apartment, she quietly packed away the prescription folic acid, rearranged her shift schedule, and scheduled prenatal scans, without telling anyone. Not Gu Zeyan, not the Mo family, no one. This child would grow knowing only strength, not the shadows of betrayal. She would raise them with her own hands, protect them like a fortress. No more bloodlines. No more dynasties, only legacy. That night, as she lay in bed, a tear slid down her cheek, not from fear, but peace. Chapter 11. Battle on Both Fronts. It began with a single video, a 12-hour surgery streamed internally for educational purposes, leaked to the medical world without warning. It showed Mo Yuyan performing a risky neurovascular graft with calm, fluid brilliance. The public devoured it. Who is this doctor? An intern performed this? Impossible! Medical forums exploded. Journalists reached out. The hospital board scrambled. Mo Yuyan? Unbothered. She simply returned to her rounds. But the Mo family didn't. Within days, her stepmother and stepsister appeared on national TV, claiming full credit. "Our family developed this technique together," Madame Lin said, clutching her pearls with well-practiced grace. "We're so proud of our daughter." Yuyan watched the screen in silence. Then she opened her laptop. 2 days later, she held a press conference, live-streamed. Reporters packed the room. She stepped up to the podium in a fitted lab coat, chin high, eyes cold. "My name is Dr. Mo Yuyan," she began, "and the truth matters." She presented time-stamped research, live footage, university statements, all verifying her authorship, her solo performance in surgery, and the Mo family's absence. Click, click. Cameras flashed. One reporter shouted, "What about your relationship with Gu Zheyan?" She didn't flinch. "This has nothing to do with anyone but me." But in the back of the room, Gu Zheyan stood in silence, uninvited, arms folded. And when she mentioned her family's betrayal, he flinched, because he saw the ultrasound printout sticking from her folder, and for the first time he realized she was hiding more than her past. She was hiding his children. Chapter 12. The Confrontation. It was raining again. The rooftop of Hanlin General Hospital shimmered beneath the downpour, city lights bleeding through the mist like ghosts. Mo Yuyan stood beneath the overhang, coat soaked through, ultrasound photo clutched in her trembling hand. She had avoided him long enough. So when Gu Zheyan stepped out of the stairwell, she didn't turn around. "I suppose you've seen it," she said quietly. "Yes." His voice was soft, but filled with something sharp, hurt wrapped in steel. "You weren't going to tell me?" he asked. She closed her eyes. "It was never your burden to carry. I had a right to know." She turned now, eyes flashing. "Like I had a right to know you were watching me from the beginning? That you knew who I was before I even knew myself?" Rain hissed between them like static. "I never lied," he said. "I suspected, but I needed proof. And now that you have it," she whispered, "what are you going to do? Claim the child? Save the disgraced intern?" He stepped closer. "No. I want to claim you." She froze. "I'm not here out of guilt or duty," he said, lowering his voice. "I'm here because I want you, not as the mother of my children, not as the fallen general, but as the woman who walked into fire and didn't blink." She swallowed. "You say that now, but what happens when I fall again?" He reached out, hand trembling, and brushed a strand of wet hair from her face. "Then I'll fall with you." She looked at him for a long time, searching his eyes like one might scan a battlefield before declaring a truce. Finally, she let the ultrasound photo slip from her hand and took his instead. Chapter 13. The Wedding of Equals. No guests, no gown, no cathedral, just two people signing their names beneath a soft skylight in a city office. Mo Yu-yun wore a pale gray blouse and a white coat slung across her arm. Gu Ziyun wore a black suit, no tie, sleeves rolled, the tension in his shoulders barely hidden. She signed the marriage license first. Her handwriting was precise, military clean. He signed next, slower, like each stroke was a promise. There was no kiss, just a pause as they looked at each other. Yu-yun spoke first. "I won't be a wife who kneels." He nodded. "And I won't be a husband who commands." They shook hands, and that was their vow. Later, in a private rooftop garden, Yu-yun stood beneath blooming sakura trees with their twin infants sleeping beside her in a vintage stroller. Gu Ziyun approached slowly, holding a small silver box. "It's not a ring," he said. "You don't wear chains." She opened it. Inside lay a hairpin, one she'd once worn as General Mo, restored and reforged. "Where did you find this?" she whispered, voice cracking. "In a battlefield museum. I bought it back." She took it, hands trembling, and pinned it in her hair. "I don't need a veil," she said. "No," he replied, "you never did." No music, no crowd, just quiet wind and cherry blossoms falling like a salute. They stood together, two warriors who had chosen peace, not because they were weak, but because they had survived. Chapter 14. Her Name in Lights. The glass doors slid open with a soft hiss. Above them, gleaming letters read, Mo Yu-yin Integrative Medical Center. Clean lines, steel and sunlight, designed by her, funded by Gu Ziyun, staffed by doctors who had been cast aside like she once was. At the opening there were no fireworks, no ribbon-cutting ceremony, just patients already lining up, trust in their eyes, because they knew who had saved them. And now the world knew her name. 2 weeks later, she stood on the stage of the International Medical Innovation Summit, her speech broadcast in 9 languages. She wore a dark green coat over her scrubs, her general's hairpin gleaming beneath studio lights. "I was told once that you can't win against the system," she said into the mic, "but I'm not here because I won. I'm here because I stopped playing by their rules." The applause was thunderous. She accepted her award with calm grace, no tears, no theatrics, only purpose. Outside the venue, a crowd had formed. At the back, behind the reporters and medics and scholars, stood the Mo family, ruined, bank accounts frozen, investigations opened. Their pharmaceutical empire collapsed after their lies were exposed by university records and whistleblower reports. Madame Lin clutched her handbag, face ghostly pale. Mo Lihua wore sunglasses to hide her shame. They stepped forward as Yu-yen exited through the press crowd. "Yu-yen, please," Madame Lin whispered. "We're still family." Yu-yen paused, looked them in the eyes, then turned away. No words, no forgiveness, because some cuts aren't healed, some wars aren't worth fighting again. She walked down the marble steps to where Ziyun waited, their twins toddling forward with chubby hands reaching for her. She bent down, lifted them into her arms, and smiled. The cameras didn't capture what she whispered into their ears, But if they had, it would have sounded like, "This is what it means to reclaim your name." Chapter 15. The General's Peace. The garden behind their home was quiet, tucked into the city's edge like a forgotten poem. Cherry blossoms had just begun to fall again, seasonal, delicate, timeless. Mo Yu-yan sat on a stone bench, eyes following two tiny forms darting between trees. Her twins, Xiaorui and Mei, chased petals with sticky fingers and laughing lungs. Beside her, Gu Zeyan poured tea into two handmade cups. No suits, no hospitals, just linen shirts, soft smiles, and silence made sacred. "You never talk about the war anymore," he said softly. Yu-yan exhaled. "Because it finally feels like another life." He handed her the cup. She took it with steady hands. "I still remember," she added, "the smell of blood, the sound of arrows, the moment I died." He didn't flinch. "But now," she continued, looking at their children, "I remember this more." She stood and walked to the edge of the garden. Her twins ran into her arms. She kissed their hair, letting herself feel the weight of what she had built, not a fortress of walls, but of love. That night, she lit incense before an altar where an old army crest rested. General Mo's final remnant. She knelt, not in submission, but in peace. "You were not forgotten." Behind her, Zeyan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're not her anymore," he said. She looked up, smiling faintly. "I am, but now I'm also this." As moonlight poured across the garden and wind rustled through petals and prayer, she whispered words she never got to speak in her first life. "I'm finally home.